What's up, you guys? Welcome back to the channel. For those of you who are new, my name is Evan and I make videos about hot stocks, dividends, and options. So if that interests you guys, make sure you subscribe and hit the notification bell so you never miss when I upload. Now today we're going to take a look at when NIO could possibly hit that $100 share price and whether that could be by the end of 2022 or maybe they could even hit that share price at some point in 2021. But before we actually jump into it, if you guys wouldn't mind going down and hitting the like button, it really does help out the channel and it lets me know that you guys enjoy these videos every weekday. So again, if you guys wouldn't mind going down and hitting the like button, I would really appreciate it. Now, as of today, they're right around 4% in the red, and today's been pretty much red all day. Early on in the trading day, they started in the green, but then throughout most of the trading day so far, they've pretty much tapered down into the red. And then if we actually look at the 1 week chart, NIO is down right around 6.5%. And this isn't too bad because they've been pretty steady most of the last week. There was a lot of news that had come out recently that actually pulled NIO down quite a substantial amount. And so it's good to see them somewhat recovering from this red that they've been seeing the last couple weeks. Because when we actually take a look at the 1 month chart, you can see more exaggerated of how NIO was affected from all this news that came out recently that kind of made them tank the last couple weeks. Now they hit a high right around $55, and since then they've been in the red pretty much the last 2 weeks or so. But now to finally see them somewhat recovering the last few days is a pretty positive sign for NIO's share price. But now to get into what you guys came for, and that's when NIO could possibly hit that $100 share price, and whether that's going to be by the end of 2022 or possibly at some point in 2021. Now we know that NIO has a lot of technologies that really help push up their share price, and we know that they've had some pretty substantial growth, especially in the last few months. And a lot of this growth that we've seen from NIO hasn't been just because of NIO, it's been because there's been a lot of hype around the EV market as a whole. A lot of EV stocks have been growing at a pretty exponential rate, especially in the last few months. I mean, if we look at XPeng, Li Auto, and of course Tesla, we know that all these stocks have been going up pretty much to the moon the last few months. Now, only in the last couple weeks have we seen these stocks take a pretty big hit, and they've actually been going down, and now it seems like they're somewhat recovering and consolidating at a pretty solid price for each company. But in terms of NIO specifically, their revenue has actually climbed 146.4% year over year, which is equal to about $667 million, and this compares to $262.47 million 1 year ago. And of course, they also have a pretty strong fourth quarter outlook because we know that their deliveries increase almost month after month. And speaking of their deliveries, of course, because they have been increasing month over month, we know that they're also increasing their capacity by January, hopefully. And they're also trying to increase capacity by the end of December, and they're trying to get up to that 7,500 vehicle limit. Now, they were capped at about 5,000, but then we know that in October they hit 5,055 deliveries, and then in November they actually hit 5,291 deliveries. And so hopefully we can see a bigger number even in December. And then once their fourth quarter revenue and their fourth quarter earnings come out, we can see a pretty positive number for those. Now they're not going to be in the profits because they're still quite a few quarters away from becoming profitable. But hopefully we can see an improvement on third quarter revenue and on third quarter earnings. And hopefully that should push up the share price of NIO even more. Now, according to a survey taken by Bazinga, 76.5% of traders and investors said that NIO would indeed reach $100 per share by 2022. So in fact, this is saying that NIO would reach a $100 share price by the beginning of 2022, not even saying by the end of 2022. Now, a lot of people looking at this $100 share price would say that this is a very small increase when we look at how much NIO has increased over the past few months. But you can't really look at it like that, and you can't compare a $100 share price that NIO would reach in the future to the growth that they've had so far. Because yes, NIO has gone from a penny stock, and of course I'm sure most of you guys know a penny stock is anything below $5. And so they've gone from that up to this $40 and $50 range. But yet to go from $40 or $50 up to $100, that's still double their current share price, and that would be a 100% growth. And yes, that could happen very realistically for NIO, but people think that this is going to happen in the next month or two, or the next coming weeks possibly. And in my opinion, that kind of thinking isn't very healthy, especially considering the market that we're in right now and seeing as though NIO has been pulling back the last couple of weeks and it looks like they're finally consolidating around a solid area. So yes, they could climb up to that $100 share price in the next couple months, but to say that that's a for sure thing, that's being very greedy and thinking that NIO, just because they've had these big gains in the past, that they're going to continue on that track. Now, I'm not saying that NIO isn't a long-term play. I think especially long-term, they are going to be worth way beyond what they're trading for right now. But to say that NIO is going to continue increasing at the current rate that they have been is very greedy, and that's how you get burned in the market, and that's how you end up losing a lot of money. Now, maybe you wouldn't lose money even if NIO is still increasing, but especially for options traders or people who are shorting or betting against a stock, those people would get burned if they think NIO is going to continue increasing at the rate that they have been. So just in my opinion, I think NIO will hit that $100 share price in the next year or so. I think especially by the end of 2021. Now, I don't want to say that it's going to happen in the next month or two and jinx it, or to have a super extremely bullish mindset, because that is how you get hurt in the market. And I think when you have more of a conservative mindset towards these share prices, then when a price does increase more than you figured, it's more of a win then because you're earning more than you expected. And then if the stock doesn't perform quite as you expected, you're not being let down as much as if you had expected a super high share price in the future. But a couple things that I think are really going to help push NIO up to that $100 share price is especially the deliveries that they want to do by early 2021. We know that they want to increase their limit to 7,500 as I mentioned earlier, and they're going to try to incorporate that by the end of December hopefully. And if not by the end of December, then sometime in January. And so if they can increase to that 7,500 capacity limit and get their deliveries up to that point, then we should see their capacity increase even up to 10,000 hopefully by the end of 2021, especially if they can leverage their partnership with JAC Motors, which is the company that currently produces their vehicles. If they can create their own facilities and start manufacturing their vehicles themselves, as well as benefiting from leveraging their partnership with JAC Motors, then hopefully we could see 100,000 and possibly 150,000 deliveries by the end of 2021. And if that's the case, that will really help NIO get profitable a lot sooner than was originally expected. And I think the profitability factor is one of those things that's really going to determine whether NIO hits that $100 mark sooner or later. And then once NIO does reach that $100 share price, we have to also look out for global expansion because they want to expand to Europe and to the US at some point in the future. Now, I don't know how likely it is that they expand to the US because there's going to be a lot of restrictions going forward, possibly restricting Chinese imports and exports out of the US. And I think those are only going to get stricter as we move along into the future. And NIO is still a long ways off from actually bringing vehicles over to the US. But in terms of expanding to Europe, NIO is hoping to expand to Europe by the end of 2021 as well. And so if they can do that, that should help push up their share price to that $100 share price as well. And so it is kind of just a waiting game to see what NIO can do by the end of 2021. And then there's also the concern that NIO could be delisted in the future. Now, there's a lot of investors who would argue that NIO is already compliant with the law that was passed. And nobody really knows for sure because this is the Chinese people that own NIO and the spokespeople for NIO saying that they're already compliant. Until we actually audit them and check that they're compliant, we won't know for sure. Now, I'm betting that NIO probably is compliant because they wouldn't want to lose all these US investors that have really propped up the price of NIO and have really pushed up their market cap. Because if they were lying and they weren't telling the truth about being compliant with this new law, they would probably drop down and lose all the gains they've had these last few months. And I don't think NIO is willing to risk all these US investors that have been investing in their company. But definitely given how far NIO's share price has risen in the last few months, it's very understandable that investors are worried that something could happen to NIO and disrupt all the gains that they've had the last couple months. But again, in my opinion, I don't think NIO is really going to go anywhere. And even if this is the case and they are going to be delisted in the future, which again I think is very unlikely, but if that was the case, it wouldn't happen for a couple of years likely. And so NIO could still expand to Europe by the end of 2021 and their share price would still continue increasing. And people could still make a lot of gains in the next couple of years before NIO would be delisted. But again, I want to stress that I don't think NIO will be delisted, at least as of the way things stand right now. Now things could change and we could find out that NIO isn't compliant, and then that would be a whole nother story. But as of right now, I think a company like NIO producing vehicles and as many vehicles as they are producing, I'm guessing that they are probably compliant, and I don't think they're lying about the numbers or being controlled by the Chinese government. But one last thing I want to touch on is if you guys own shares of NIO, even if they were to be delisted, you still own that part of the company. The only problem is that you would have to trade it on a different brokerage and it would no longer be listed on the New York Stock Exchange. So it would be a lot more difficult to trade your shares, but you would still own those shares and you would own that piece of the company. You wouldn't lose that just because the company is delisted. But now for those of you who made it this far into the video, I want to hear your guys' opinions down in the comments and when you guys think NIO is going to hit that $100 share price. Now I think it's very possible that they hit that by the end of 2021 and I think that's very likely, but I'm not sure exactly what point they could hit that $100 share price. So let me know what you guys think down in the comments and when you think they'll hit that $100 share price. Lastly, if you guys haven't signed up for Webull, make sure you guys sign up using the link in the description and you'll get 4 free stocks when you deposit $100. Also, if you guys enjoyed the video, make sure you leave a like because it really does help out the channel. And with that said, thank you guys so much for watching and I'll see you back here in the next one. Bye.